Hey, good morning, everyone. I wanted to do a quick follow-up on yesterday's video about doing modifications on a transtibial limb and just show you a couple other things because we have some new tools, the measurement tools we figured out recently, and I want to use those now to help guide my modifications. So this is why I haven't really done CAD modifications in the past, is I didn't know the measurements. So now that we can actually be a little more accurate, and maybe this makes more sense to start doing now as a free software where we can measure. So first thing I want to do is show you what we actually changed. So I'm going to click on my base model and do a plane cut and flip that arrow there. And you can see the green. So the green is basically my reductions all the way around. So let me change that view. Let's cancel that. So let's go perspective view for this. And then same thing, plane cut. Drop that there. And you can see we took, a nice kind of even amount for the most part around. So I'm pretty happy with the way those reductions in those areas look. And then we got buildups across those. And what I've now done is set up to actually measure these. So I made copies here of the base model and that kind of final smoothed remeshed model. And I set up with 1 inch increments like I did in the AK by numbers video the other day. And we're going to measure these in ScandiFit. So check out the other video if you're not sure what you're seeing here and how to set this up. But it's a pretty easy way to get these measurements. And then we've got 2 windows. I'm going to pull each of these into one. So let me first export base model to measure. And I'm going to export my modified. And I just want to see where my reductions actually ended up on a circumferential value and percentage there. So let's bring base model first, millimeters, and upload and hit OK. And then we'll bring the modified one in. And when I've shown you this tool in the past, I was doing a little too much. So we don't have to flip back and forth between these. It's actually easier than I thought. So right click to slide around, left click to rotate. And then let's do transform and just click this to translate. And that's all you have to do. You don't have to go back to that screen at all. We're going to start here at the most distal measurement and just calculate the perimeter at each of these levels. And so it's pretty quick now doing it this way. And once that's done, I'm going to look at this in millimeters. And I'm going to pull up this Excel sheet and put these numbers in. So I'd already started this and ran a test to make sure it works. So let's update based on these numbers here. And you can probably see a little preview of the result. Our values didn't end up being all that different. So same thing here. Let's rotate, slide, translate, and measure. And we'll just go through these real quick. Okay, and back to the Excel sheet. So I have this set up as a format cell as a percentage decimal place 1. And then you can also use this just to tell you what your 3% reduction values would be. You might find this useful or not. But just looking at these, let's update those based on this model. 403, let's do 380. Escape. 386, 364, 360, 362, 48 there. And that last one's going to be 313. So the distal end didn't really change, which is to be expected because we were getting pretty close to that umbrella where I was intentionally not changing. You can see my volumes after those modifications. Even though we did those reductions, we also did buildups. So my volume on that socket is pretty much the same. It's mostly unchanged. So what I'm not sure of yet is what these modifications are like, because this is new to me. So with limb and lattice, that's the one interesting and kind of fun thing here is I'm learning a lot of this as I go as well. So it's kind of like I learn it and then I help you learn it. I'm just trying to help break down some of these barriers and learning curves. So anytime a new tool comes out, like you're going to be right there with me as we figure these things out. So what I'm going to do is actually take that model and I'm going to make 2 of these. So these are going to be test sockets. Someone else is fitting these. That was their cast. So I'm not really sure how this equates exactly to my measurements. So what I want to do is just send them what I thought my modifications were going to be. And then I'm going to send them a second one that's just going to be a reduced version based on knowing that I didn't really change my volume at all. So let me smooth these out real quick. And then what I'm going to do here is select that distal end and just slide that up and smooth that boundary. And I want to separate out the distal end because, again, that's the umbrella, and I don't want to touch that. So select it, edit, separate. That creates a new part over here. We'll go back to the original and do edit, transform. And what I want to do is change this scale. So let's do a 2% reduction and see what that looks like. So that's going to be in the AP and ML planes is going to be X and Z in Mesh Mixer if you have it set up right orientation wise. We'll accept that, and then we're going to put these 2 pieces back together. So combine. This is just like when we rebuilt the AK the other day. Grab the 2, double click on 2 edge triangles and join that, accept, and then I'm just going to expand that out just a little bit and do a smooth there. All right, so that's our rebuilt model, now 2% smaller, essentially 2% smaller than our base model, because we knew that after our modifications, we didn't really change much. So if we look at this, turn back on the base model, you can see we are still a little bit bigger on our proximal and distal tibia, our fibular head, our distal fibula. So we haven't gone so far in our reductions that we've messed up our buildups there. So that's good. And that's kind of what I'm looking for is if I went to 3%, some of this would start to disappear. That's what I had tried earlier already. So 2% should be a good amount there. You can turn that off. You can see we've still got a little pocket built up under the distal tibia. And we're just going to see. We're going to see what this fits like compared to the other one. And we'll get some feedback, and then we'll use that to guide our future modifications. Because it's just like when we learn this stuff from hand. We had to take measurements. We had to figure out what works, what doesn't work. So for me, at least, this is my first transition to CAD mods. So I'm just trying to figure out the process that works in Mesh Mixer, and I'm going to take you guys along on that journey with me. So have a great day. Let me know if there's any questions. See ya.